Where are you from?
MTV Lebanon. Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. We're so happy to be here as well, have this opportunity. Mr. President Erdogan said he's not going to follow your sanctions and he's going to keep buying oil from...
Who said that?
President Erdogan, Turkey.
I know.
And you're going to meet him soon.
Just can't understand his...
Okay, you're going to meet him soon. You're going to have this talk, and some countries are going to take the same steps that President Erdogan is doing.
So let me just tell you about the oil, okay? So we imposed, just recently, the strongest sanctions in the history of our country, just about. Well, I guess North Korea is there too. But I gave some countries a break on the oil. I did it a little bit because they really asked for some help. But I really did it because I don't want to drive oil prices up to $100 a barrel or $150 a barrel, because I'm driving them down. If you look at oil prices, they've come down very substantially over the last couple of months. That's because you have a monopoly called OPEC. And I don't like that monopoly. I don't like it. And oil prices are coming. So rather than deciding to be as tough as I am on most of the sanctions, what I've done is I said, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to let some of the oil go out to these countries that really do need it, because I don't want to drive the oil prices up to $100 or $150 a barrel, which could happen very easily. It's a very fragile market, very, very fragile. I know it very well, and it's the absolute right decision. And they'll get tougher as time goes by, maybe, but I don't want to have any effect on the oil prices worldwide where I drive them up, because I consider that to be a tax, and I don't like taxes.
We have a peace process between Israel and Palestine.
Please.
The peace process is over.
Who? Oh, congratulations to John Tester. Congratulations. I'm sure you're very unhappy about that. Go ahead.
Mr.
Yes,
President,
please, go ahead.
Can you address the...
We'll take a couple of more and then we'll go.
Can you address concerns in places like Georgia where people waited in line to vote for hours, where voting machines weren't working in certain districts, and there wasn't power?
You think that's the reason that the candidate lost?
Well, there are concerns being raised that it wasn't...
I wasn't involved in Georgia.
I know, but
other than I love the state.
Yes, but as President of the United States, are you concerned about the access that people are having to voting?
I heard it was very efficient in Georgia. I heard it was very efficient. But again, you'd have to ask the state governments, because just one of those things you're going to have to ask them. Yeah, go ahead, please. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. You expressed some concerns about social media companies unfairly censoring conservatives during the election. Do you anticipate working with Democrats to regulate these companies, or are you satisfied
I would do that, yeah. I would look at that very seriously. I think it's a serious problem. At the same time, you start getting into speech. It's a very dangerous problem. That could be the beginning. So it's very dangerous. Believe it or not, I'm one that really likes free speech. A lot of people don't understand that. But I am a big believer. When you start regulating, a lot of bad things can happen. But I would certainly talk to the Democrats if they want to do that. And I think they do want to do that. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Former President Barack Obama famously said that he had a pen and a phone to use executive power on issues like immigration. Do you see yourself using executive power to get some of your immigration agenda done?
I do. I think that some of it I can use executive power on some, not all. But I mean, he certainly used it. He used it on DACA. And when he did it, he said something to the effect that, I'm not allowed to do this, it'll never hold up, but I'm doing it anyway. And he did it, and they found judges that approved it. We also found judges that didn't approve it, so it's obviously going to be determined in the Supreme Court. And if the court rules in favor of what President Obama thinks they should rule, which is what he said, then I will probably have a deal with the Democrats in a very short period of time. We were very close to having a deal until we got that very strange ruling.
You also made some promises about immigration during the campaign, and I want to know if you're going to follow through with them. Are you going to aggressively...
Which one are you talking about?
Birthright citizenship. Are you going to sign an executive order to ban...
We are looking at it very seriously, absolutely.
I mean, is yes or no? Or
and I believe we have the absolute right, but that's another case that will be determined by the Supreme Court of the United States.
Are you going to send 15,000 troops to the border?
You've been reading the same documents as I have. You know exactly what I'm doing. You know exactly what I'm doing. So go ahead. What's your next question?
Also, on the Khashoggi matter, we've been more than a month since the death of Mr. Khashoggi, the
Yeah.
journalist.
Very sad thing, very terrible thing.
Do you think Saudi Arabia is guilty of having him murdered? And if so,
I'll
what
have
kind
a
of
much
punishment will be
stronger
involved?
opinion on that subject over the next week, and I'm working very closely with Congress. We're working together, some very talented people, and we're working with Congress, we're working with Turkey, and we're working with Saudi Arabia, and I'm forming a very strong opinion.